This Saturday, AEW's final pay-per-view of the year takes place with full gear. And a shocker, the card looks hella exciting. So exciting in fact, it's already making its case as a contender for Show of the Year. So let's get right into it. I'm Pomi Wrestling, and these are my predictions for the 10 announced matches. First, on the kickoff, we have Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter. This is basically a showcase for the participants in the TBS tournament, so it could go either way, since all challengers are still in contention. I'm picking Shida and Rosa mostly because it would start the show with a hot win by a very popular star. On the main card, let's start with Bryan Danielson versus Miro in the Eliminator tournament finals. This was a tough choice between Bryan and Moxley, who was surely gonna be a part of this match. However, after his sudden withdrawal and Miro's last minute addition, it's still surprisingly difficult to decide who will get the title shot. On one hand, we have Miro, whose character work after dropping the TNT title has been superb, and a world title match could do wonders for him and his quest for redemption. On the other hand, there's Bryan, who has become one of the main highlights of AEW for the past month, with several top-notch matches, all with different finishes. Regardless of who walks out as champion in the main event, both Miro and Bryan have strong enough cases to have the final world title match of the year. However, I get the feeling they'll see Bryan for a pay-per-view title match later down the line, so I'm actually gonna pick Miro. Coming next, CM Punk faces Eddie Kingston. Somehow, despite only having 2 weeks of build, this legit feels like one of the most personal feuds on the card. And it's all thanks to just one promo segment. Punk and Eddie pulled an entire backstory out of nowhere, and basically had one of, if not the best segments of the year, full of intensity and some cold-blooded lines.
I am not wrong for seeing greatness in you 15 years ago, but I damn sure am a fool for trying to hold you to that standard and expect greatness because you're a bum.
Nobody wants you here, they never wanted you here. That whole locker room's afraid to say it, not me. So get out, and stop smirking at me like you did the other day, or I'll smack you right off your face.
I'm mostly leaning towards a Punk victory since he's still undefeated, but I wouldn't mind at all seeing Eddie pick up the win. Later on, there's MJF versus Darby Ali. The concept behind this rivalry has been genuinely fascinating. MJF is mad because he couldn't get under Darby's skin like he does to the rest of the roster. All while Darby's act as a cold and composed face against the jackass heel has been simple but very effective. In most stories, I would be confident the bully would get his comeuppance at the end. But MJF already had a major defeat at All Out, and a character like his can only fail so many times at this point of his career. I'm sure Darby can withstand another loss, and based on the fact that MJF and him have been profiled as part of the 4 young pillars of AEW, I'm sure they'll eventually cross paths again. Following that, the Superkliq faces Christian Cage and Jurassic Express in a Falls Count Anywhere match. These 2 squads had an excellent match at Grand Slam, where they rolled away from the ring and onto the entrance ramp, where they had a couple of big spots. Then they proceeded to do that again for the vast majority of the past month, which, in all fairness, has translated into some very good segments. And with the added stipulation, this bout should be more of that, but on a bigger stage. Kind of wish there was a bit more variety, but the match will still be a great change of pace. As for the winner, there's a case for the Superkliq, since Cole is still undefeated, but this is also a rematch, and I think the babyface team should go over after getting their butts kicked for most of an entire month. There's also Cody Rhodes and Pac versus Andrade El Idolo and Malakai Black. This is essentially AEW fusing 2 feuds to get more people on the card, and I really don't mind. Andrade and Malakai have been picking up some steam over the past month, and while their union felt very sudden, I think it genuinely has some long-term potential. Pac and Cody are very clearly a makeshift tag team, And not only do I expect them to lose, I also expect them to implode mid-match, which could branch out into a feud of their own. We also have the Inner Circle versus Man of the Year and American Top Team in a Minneapolis street fight. This feud has been for the most part one giant mixed match or bag. The matches have been quite good, but there have been tons of shenanigans to protect the face team. The promos have had strong lines, but they often deviated from the point and just turned into juvenile banter.
American Top Team led by their mascot, Dan, don't call me dipshit, Lambert.
Personally, I'm not that invested in either team winning. The only moment that truly hooked me was Dan Lambert's reveal from last week, which leads me to my prediction. No matter how much interference from the likes of Jorge Masvidal and Paige Van Zandt we get, there is no way AEW would book Dan Lambert as part of the encounter and not have him get his ass kicked to end the match. Then we have Britt Baker versus Ty Conti for the AEW Women's World title. There hasn't been much of a story with this one. The spotlight has remained firmly on the TBS title tournament, with Ty's title win taking a backseat. It kind of feels like AEW is buying time until they can do Britt vs Thunder Rosa 3 in early 2022. I'm still excited to see Ty in such a big spot, and after her fantastic match with Hikaru Shida earlier this year, I'm sure Britt and her will kill it in the ring, but I'm completely confident this is an easy title retention for Britt. After that, the Lucha Brothers take on FTR for the AEW World Tag Team titles. This feud has been completely centered around the AAA tag titles. FTR reinserted themselves into the title picture with a surprise victory over the champions, and since then have spent the entirety of the feud claiming to be the best lucha libre wrestlers in the world. None of the story has been bad, but just like FTR versus the Bucks last year, this bout sells itself mostly on the in-ring action promised on pay-per-view. I could see a case for FTR winning the belts, but I'm quite certain Phoenix and Penta are retaining. And finally, Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page fight for the AEW World title. This is the moment we've been all waiting for well over a year. Heck, some have been waiting since Hangman's loss at the first All Out in 2019. The story of Hangman Adam Page has been at the heart of AEW for the longest time, creating a rare connection with the crowd that's only kept on growing in spite of all the shortcomings and sudden changes to the card. Hangman finally winning the big one against those who turned his back on him when he needed them the most could genuinely be the greatest moment in a promotion that's created some of the greatest moments in modern professional wrestling. After all the hardships, I think most of us can agree it's time for Hangman to end the reign of Kenny Omega, who, by the way, is already got a ready-made feud against Bryan Danielson, and for once, stand atop the mountain as the face of all elite wrestling. Do you agree with my choices? Leave a comment down below with your predictions for Full Gear. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow me on social media at Pommy Wrestling for any update. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, see ya!